Now, before we start an origami frog, I think it's important to talk about materials. If you have origami paper at home, that's perfect. It's designed to create origami with. However, a lot of us don't actually have origami laying around our house, but we might have more material options than we think. So here are some of the ones that I used. I'll talk about them, and I'll kind of let you know which ones work better than others. So the ones that I found worked best were about the thickness of copy paper. So this is paper that you print with right here. And this frog was probably about 4 by 4. So a nice thin paper worked really well for me. So anything similar to that works great. Line paper. This was also a thin piece of paper that came in the mail, and it was part of an advertisement. This one actually was found inside of an envelope. For this one, I cut the paper to only 2.5 by 2.5. Those are the ones that jump the best for me, are the ones that are as thin as copy paper. So these ones worked pretty well, but not quite as well. So here I have construction paper. Now, if you're going to use really thin paper, you can kind of go as small as 2.5. But if you are using any thicker paper like construction paper, I would make sure that all of the paper that you cut is going to be 4 by 4. Or even up to 7 by 7. So here's my construction paper one. Then I have my magazine one. And you can see he didn't quite make it as far, so he doesn't jump quite as well as the other ones. And then this is my one made out of scrapbook paper. So you can see the thicker paper doesn't jump as well. I understand that some of you might be doing this project from home and you might not have a square sheet of paper. So I'm going to show you how to take a rectangle and make it into a square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the corner until it touches over here, and I want to get this edge to line up with this edge. So again, I'm pulling this corner and I want this edge to line up with this edge. Once I've got it to line up here, I'm going to go ahead and press down on this side, and then I'm going to crease using the side of my thumbnail. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this part up. And I'm going to go ahead and crease. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to turn it over and fold that side back up. And then for a final time, I'm going to turn it back over, flip it back up, and crease 1, 2, 3. And the reason why we crease this edge so many times is because we want to weaken it. So that way, if you don't have scissors, you can actually tear. So now we can open it back up. From this line up is our perfect square that we are going to use for our project today. From here down is the part that we need to get rid of. So if you have scissors, you can go ahead and cut along this line right here. If you don't, that is when we are going to turn it and then gently pull along this edge. If you have a ruler, you can even place it here and rip against the ruler, and that'll help give you a nice sharp edge. If it doesn't seem to be ripping properly, you may need to go back and crease it a few more times. And now I have a perfect square and I'm ready to start my origami frog. For my demonstration today, I am using just a thin piece of colored printing paper. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fold from side to side. Now I want to make sure that I line up these edges as best as I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and flatten out my paper. And then I'm going to make sure I've creased really, really, really well by taking the side of my thumbnail and running it and pressing down. And you'll see it flattens out even more. That's really important in origami. Now I'm going to fold from top to bottom. And again, I'm going to make sure I'm lining up those edges really well, pressing along the fold, and then creasing. It may be good practice for you to crease once, twice, and 3 times. Now I'm going to take the top and line it up with the fold. Ideally, you want to stop right on the fold, but stopping a little tiny bit short is okay if your paper's not quite even. You don't want any paper to go past a fold ever in origami. Okay, I can open that back up. Now I'm going to go from the bottom up to the middle line. And I'm going to make sure that I don't pass that line. Stopping a little bit short is okay, but going past it is a no-no in origami. All right, now that I've done that, I'm going to take this corner to meet this corner. So my top right corner down to my bottom left. And you can see my paper isn't quite even. And that's okay. I'll just make sure that whatever is the longest paper that it touches the edge. Because again, I don't want to go past any edges and I don't want to go past any creases. So I'll just go by the longest edge here. Now I'm going to go from this corner to this corner. Now that I've done that to the top, I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. So I'm going to take this corner up and fold it towards the middle crease. And I should have a triangle with a flat edge along the middle. Bottom left-hand corner up to meet top middle, and make sure that I have this edge touches this edge. This part can be a little bit tricky, so what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this top square here. You'll notice that there's an X inside of a square. There's also a line that goes through it. I'm going to put my fingers behind the side triangles and behind that line, and I'm going to try to pop it inward a little bit. Once I can get it inward, I'll keep kind of guiding it in towards the center. And once these two pieces of paper touch right here, I'll go ahead and press down. And this is called a squash fold because you're smushing it and squishing it and squashing it. So now I'll do the same thing to the bottom. I'm going to put my fingers behind the sideways triangles and I'm going to push right behind that center line. Can even let it go up there if I need to. And I'm going to ease it inward. Now, if it's not working very well, you may need to go back in and fold it again and really crease right in the middle there. Again, once they touch right here in the middle, then I can do my squash fold. And again, I want to crease really well, about 3 times along each fold. Now you should have a diamond. Now I'm going to take this point up to this point, and I want to create a straight line here, and I'm only going to take the top sheet that it lets me take. I'm not going to take the whole side, I'm just going to take this top layer right here. Now I'm done with that one. I'm going to do the same thing 3 more times. So I'm going to take this layer and bring this point up to the center point and crease really well. And then I'm going to take this corner, the top layer corner, and bring it to this point. And then I'm going to take this one and bring it into the center. So I should have repeated that same step 4 times total. Now I'm going to take the top layer again, and I'm going to fold it back out towards the edge, and I want this edge to line up with this edge. There you go. And I'll do the same 1, 2, 3 more times. So I want this center edge to line up with that outer edge. You want to crease these really well too. These are going to be the feet, and you want it to have a nice sharp edge, which will help it jump. So I've done it twice, and now I need to do it here at the bottom. This edge to this edge. And crease. This edge to this edge. And crease. Now we have 4 legs. Now what we're going to do is flip it over. You want this line to stay in the middle. We don't want to turn it straight up and down. We want to keep it side to side. So I'm just going to take the top and I'm going to flip it down like this. All right. Now you can see he's kind of got like almost like a little tail here, and we really want to round that out. And now you want to take that point and you want to bring it up as close to the middle as you can get it without lifting up the legs. And then crease really well here too. You may even need to push it and put some extra pressure on it. Now I'm going to take this point. Now I'm going to take this point and I'm going to start bringing it inward, and I want this edge to line up with the center and create a straight line. So I'm bringing that side point in, and I want this edge to create a straight line down the middle, and I want to stop right in the middle. I don't want to pull past the middle here. And again, it's going to get a little trickier to crease, so you may need to kind of push down on it after you do. I'm going to repeat that same step one more time. I'm going to take this point and I'm going to pull on it so that I can get this edge to line up right with the middle. And again, I'm going to stop when I hit the middle. I'm not going to pull past. Crease and push on it a little bit if I need to. Now I'm almost done with the frog. He can't actually jump yet. We almost need to create a spring effect by bending. Now he can't quite jump yet. We have to fan fold him a couple times so that we create almost like a spring. So I'm going to flip him over on his back. And this is his head here where there's a point. I'm going to take his feet up to meet his hands and make them kind of high five. So I'm folding him in half. So his feet are coming up to his hands, and I really need to crease where I folded him in half. And then I'm going to take his feet and I'm going to fold them backwards, and I want a fold to happen right here in the middle. This is the last fold that we're going to make. So I'm going to take this edge here, and again, I'm trying to create a fold right there. And that'll kind of create almost like a spring effect. Take it all, the whole thing should go with you, and you really have to push down nice and hard. Now, some people make their origami frog and then they find that it doesn't jump. It could be because maybe you didn't fold it correctly, or maybe you did fold it correctly and you're not pressing down on it in the correct way to make it really hop. This is going to work like a slingshot. To get it to really work, you need to kind of like pull it back like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our finger right here on this edge, the top edge right there. And then you have to kind of pull it back. See how his arms almost look like they're coming up into the air? And that's kind of pulling him back like a slingshot. And then you can make him jump. So I'll show you one more time. I'll show you with my lined paper one here. So this would be a fun experiment with a family member. You could see who can get their frog to jump the farthest. You could also put targets down and see who can do the tiniest hop to land on a target, and maybe who can land on targets really far away. I hope you had fun with me today. I hope that your frogs hop. If they don't, origami is something that you have to really practice to get the hang of it. So don't give up yet. It might take you 2, 3, 4, 5 times to get it right. Each time you're going to get it better. And I really think that if you keep working at it, you're going to be successful in the end.